Good evening. At this time, it is 6:30 p.m. and I would like to call the Wilmington Elementary School Building Committee meeting to order. It is Tuesday, December 16th, and at this time, I would kindly ask for a roll call vote, please.
Diane Allen,
Here.
Greg Bendel,
Please excuse absence this evening.
Kate Bissell,
Here.
Kevin Kyra, Michael Camosio,
Here.
Justin Couchet,
Here.
Mary Ann Galezzo,
Here.
Nicholas Golden,
Here.
Christine Holleran,
Here.
John Holloway, Dennis Kelly,
Here.
Lila Maselli, here. Paul Millerani,
Here.
Craig Minor,
Excused absence.
Christine Murray, Judy O'Connell,
Here.
Christine Pendergast,
Excused absence.
David Ragsdale,
Here.
Paul Ruggiero,
Retired.
he won't be attending anymore. Stacy Scott,
Excused absence.
Eric Schlegel,
Here.
Dr. Thompson,
Here.
Stephen Turner,
Here.
and myself here. We have a quorum.
Thank you. Yes, we do have a quorum. Item number 2 on the agenda is the approval of minutes. In your packet, you do have a draft set of minutes for November 18th, 2025. The school building committee meeting was, as I mentioned, was included and distributed out last Friday, December 12th. So the draft meeting minutes were labeled as item number 2. And at this time, would anyone like to make a motion to approve the minutes from the school building committee meeting held on October 21st, 2025 as issued?
So moved, Madam Chair. Second.
Motion's been made by, I'll call Paul Millerani as the motion, seconded by Dr. Thompson. Discussion. Hearing none, roll call vote, please.
Absolutely. Diane Allen,
Yes.
Kate Bissell,
Yes.
Michael Camosio,
Yes.
Justin Couchet,
Yes.
Mary Ann Galezzo, I'll come back. Nicholas Golden,
Yes.
Christine Holleran,
Yes.
Dennis Kelly,
Yeah.
Lilia Maselli,
Yes.
Paul Millerani,
Yes.
Christine Murray, Judy O'Connor,
Yes.
David Ragsdale,
Yes.
Eric Schlegel,
Yeah.
David Thompson,
Yeah.
Stephen Turner,
Yes.
and myself, yes. I'll go back, Mary Ann Galezzo.
Yes.
Thank you.
Thank you very much. So item number 3 is administrative, and at this time, I'm going to turn it over to David Sangden from left field, please.
Thank you, Judy. Within the meeting packet from last Friday that Craig shared, there was an invoice summary and associated invoices. That item was packet item number 3 within the communication that was shared. So invoice summary number 22, we have an invoice from Dawn Whittier in the amount of $735,767.50. A periodic invoice from Fontaine Brothers for pre-construction services of $26,666. A left field invoice in the amount of $30,400 for a total of $792,833.50. This was reviewed earlier this evening by the Finance Committee, and they made a motion to bring it to this committee. At this point, I will be looking for someone from the Finance Committee or the Finance Invoice Committee to make a motion to approve the invoice summary number 22.
I'd like to make a motion to approve summary number 22 in the amount of $792,833.50.
I'll second that motion, and I'll entertain discussion. Any discussion? Hearing none, roll call vote, please.
Diane Allen,
Yes.
Kate Bissell,
Yes.
Michael Camosio,
Yes.
Justin Couchet,
Yes.
Mary Ann Galezzo,
Yes.
Nicholas Golden,
Yes.
Christine Holleran,
Yes.
Dennis Kelly, you made the motion, Lilia Maselli,
Yes.
Paul Millerani,
Yes.
Judy O'Connell, you seconded,
Yes.
David Ragsdale,
Yes.
Eric Schlegel,
Yes.
David Thompson,
Yes.
Stephen Turner,
Yes.
and myself, yes.
Okay, the next item is the total project budget update. Once again, I'll turn it over to David Sangden from left field, please.
Thank you, Judy. So, similar to the invoice packet, within the packet, we had a fully expanded budget. What is on the screen is a condensed version, which we presented last month, just to make it somewhat legible on the screen. But again, every month we want to share the expanded version with the committee as part of the packet. There is really no change from this budget with the exception of expenditures and unspent. That is it. It's just simple accounting. There will be periods within the duration of the project where we will be moving money from one bucket to another bucket, but that really has not occurred with the exception of a budget revision request we did, I think, a month or two ago. So if you're trying to find a difference, the only difference up here is some accounting. What's been expended and unspent. But if there's any questions, I'll entertain questions if any on the budget. If not, we can move into the next item on the agenda.
Any questions around the table? Seeing and hearing none, I'll move on to item number C, which is access to the meeting packets. At this time, left field will now update the committee on the status of publicly posted meeting minutes, and I will turn it over to Craig DiCarlo.
Thank you, Judy. So the last meeting, this committee decided that, or asked that the meeting packets be posted to the project website. So left field worked with the school department's IT group, thank you, Angel, among others, and they recommended doing something that's similar to what the school committee does, which is this is what the page looks like, and right here, that is an embedded link to a Google Drive. And so each one of the meeting packets will live in there and easily accessible to the public, easy to maintain, no additional cost to the school department. So it's sort of like wins on all accounts. So what the IT team did is they started in November as sort of like a trial to see if that satisfies the committee. And if so, then just marching forward, that's how we'll always do it. So the recordings will still be available here, kind of on the main part of the page, but then everything else will live in that meeting packet folder sorted by date.
Any questions or comments around the table? Yes.
That's great, and there's no shelf life, those stay
Stay forever.
in perpetuity, right?
Yeah.
Perfect, that's great, thank you.
Anything, sir? Okay. Perfect. Thank you very much for that. The next item on the agenda is letter D for designated individual for interior design. So at this time, left field will walk us through their recommendation to designate an individual to represent the interests of the committee in design meetings on the topic of interior design. And at this time, I'm going to turn it over to David Sangden.
Thank you, Judy. So at our last meeting on October 21st, we explained that as we enter into the next phase of the project, the best way to keep decisions and design refinements moving efficiently while staying fully compliant with public law and industry standards is to recommend that certain specific tasks be delegated to individual committee members. These individuals will meet in small working sessions with the project and design teams without forming a quorum to review technical, continued design and detailed associated elements of the project. Based on these ongoing meetings, certain high-level findings and recommendations will be brought back to the full committee for discussion and formal action. Areas for delegation include sustainability, civil and site design, which at the October 21st meeting, the committee delegated this to Mr. Dennis Kelly. Other areas of design process will include interior design, furniture and equipment, technology, security, and other design or operational elements as we may determine at a later date. That said, to maintain our schedule and deliverables, we request that the committee designate a member to serve as the delegated individual for interior design elements associated with the school project. That said, I have a recommended motion for the committee to consider once someone on the committee moves the motion and it is seconded, I'll read the motion, I just can't move the motion. So the recommended motion for the committee to entertain would be that Vivian Barabedian is designated to review, advise, and make decisions regarding interior design related to the design refinements associated with the continued design of the project on behalf of the building committee, provided such decisions remain within the approved project scope and budget and four corners of the project as approved. Vivian Barabedian may consult with committee members and non-members provided the consultation does not reach a quorum of the committee. Vivian Barabedian may also, at her discretion, bring updates and decisions back to the full committee for review, advice, and/or action.
So moved. Do I have a second?
Second.
Second by Mr. Slagle. Discussion. Yes,
So-
Mr. Mahoney.
So is it Dennis or is it Vivian?
So Dennis was approved last month, I'm going to say for horizontal design elements.
Okay.
And for, I didn't mean that in a negative way, but.
Get it slayed off of it.
And then it's the same process, it's just being recommended to designate Vivian for interior design elements.
Okay, like finishes and things like that.
Yes. And as an example, at a upcoming meeting, Dennis attended some meetings related to horizontal design elements, and there will be a few things that are coming back to this committee.
Okay.
So, not everything comes back to this committee because it's just not feasible, but certain elements will.
But Dennis will speak on our behalf, right?
Correct.
Perfect, okay, great.
Mr. Turner?
So just as Mr. Kelly was a very appropriate choice for the first designation, I think Ms. Barabedian is a very, very
Yes.
logical choice for the interior elements. So I think this is a great idea.
You don't give color selection to a guy.
It's a very nice color, red.
Any other discussion?
Yeah, I just have a question. Isn't this normally something, though, that's done by the architect, interior design?
I'm going to defer to Dawn Whittier to comment on that.
So, Diane, yes, we will have a major part in that. What Vivian and whoever she pulls in to work with is more of a sounding board to make sure that whatever we're proposing, we can bring to Vivian and crew to review those elements, just to make sure we're moving in the right direction. And then we will bring it back at each of the SBC meetings to give an update on the direction that we're going, and that way the entire SBC is familiar with it. But it's really just for us to have someone to use as a sounding board, that's the best way to describe it, so that we can keep moving forward given the deadlines that we have and not wait a month to see that, hey, maybe this isn't going to work, or can we try to do it somewhat differently and just get some feedback. So we'll be doing the work. Vivian's more of just a check-in, if you will.
Okay, I understand now. Thank you.
David Ragsdale?
The way that I've been thinking about these designations, and maybe someone can say if it's a good way to think about it, is that the alternative is not that everything comes back to the building committee for all of these decisions, because as Judy said, that's not feasible, that's not possible. The alternative is that none of them do, and that essentially the architects and designers just do everything, and then there's kind of like no influence or input from the committee until at least way, way down the line when we say, oh my God, what were you thinking? And that this is a way that we have input along the way rather than having no input. Rather than sort of the alternative way of thinking about it, just like, why isn't the whole committee voting on, the color of the ceilings?
Or maybe a different way is to look at it as we have buy-in every step of the process, and we have input throughout the entire process versus waiting till a milestone point to give feedback. So we are just as invested every step of the way, and we have ownership of it. That's how I'm looking at it.
And as much as I'm the horizontal guy, I want to be involved in the vertical as form and function. So I want to stay on that committee, and Vivian and I have talked, and the leadership group talk. I want to stay in it because there's decisions that can be made that may affect the longevity or the maintenance of something. So I'll be involved, but Vivian will drive it. and I'll bring that technical part of it to it.
Absolutely.
Makes sense.
That's great.
Nick?
Thank you. Yeah, again, I agree that these are the right candidates for these roles, absolutely. And I agree also, we don't need everything to come back for us to be like an up or down, yes or no voted. But I do hope that we do get like relatively frequent updates at their discretion about, like, say, you know, if you have like X, like 4 meetings in the next 2 months, maybe 3 meetings from now, we hear, I meant about this, that, and the other thing, we talked to the architects with this, that, so that the folks at home can hear a bit more about the process, because otherwise I feel like we've had 3 months meetings that hasn't been, well, we'll talk about the design, but I just want to make sure people see that the progress is happening and they can feel that they're involved in it. So from the public side, that's my thought.
Absolutely. I mean, we have great examples. There are people that are around here that are on the select board or on a school committee. And you think about those boards and committees meet twice a month, or sometimes once a month, depending on the seasonality. And then school personnel like Dr. Thompson and Eric Slagle, myself, we go back and we work between those meetings to take care of everything that was voted on the previous meetings and prepare for the next meeting. If we had to wait, to get business done, it just wouldn't happen. So you need to have a little bit of agility, knowing that, swatches can be picked, tile can be picked, or ideas can be formed to be able to get ready for meetings and not have to wait 45 days before one decision can be made. We're paying all of these partners to do all this work for the town. We want to certainly maximize the work, and we have a very specific project timeline that we have to meet. So every day that we're delayed costs money, so we have to make sure that we're staying on target. So I think that makes the point. So we have a motion, it's been seconded, we've had some healthy discussion. Is there anyone else that would like to make a comment or question? Seeing none. Roll call vote, please.
Diane Allen,
Yes.
Kate Bissell,
Yes.
Michael Camosio,
Yes?
Justin Couche,
Yes.
Marianne Galesso,
Yes.
Nicholas Golden,
Yes.
Christine Holleran,
Yes.
Dennis Kelly,
Yes.
Lilia Maselli,
Yes.
Paul Melorani,
Yes.
Judith O'Connor, you motion,
Yes.
David Ragsdale,
Yes.
Eric Schlegel, you seconded,
Yes.
David Thompson,
Yes.
Stephen Turner,
Yes.
and myself, yes, thank you.
Thank you. Next item is item number 4, which is the design update. At this time, Doreen Whitty will now present to the committee their proposed interior design concepts. A draft of these slides were included in the meeting packet that was distributed last Friday. And at this time, I'll turn it over to Ronnie.
Thank you, Judy. As we have now Vivian as the liaison for the interiors, these next couple of slides are to really look at the inspiration of as we are moving through this building and making decisions that we can go back to these inspirational themes, if you will. So we'll just go through these slides. I know you saw them in the packet, but we'll walk through them. So where we're starting, Wilmington's history, it's rooted in community, shaped by movement and connection, guided by innovation and nature. From its earliest beginnings, the town's evolved through places that bring people together and support growth. The town common was selected. It represents Wilmington's foundation, a shared center that reflects roots, stability, belonging, connection. Railroad and industry was introduced, and it brings movement and innovation. It's allowing ideas, people, and opportunity to flow, much like the circulation and collaboration spaces that connect learning today. Silver Lake, its natural beauty and ecology reflects learning that branches outward, flexible, exploratory, and interconnected. Wilmington is a town shaped by nature and growth, just like its learners. This new school takes inspiration from that shared story. In nature, growth follows a clear and intuitive pattern. It begins with strong roots, develops through steady structure, and expands freely outward. This same progression provides a powerful framework for learning. Children grow emotionally, socially, and academically when their environment supports them at each stage. First, grounding them in safety and belonging, then encouraging curiosity, and ultimately empowering independence. The school is conceived not as a static building, but as a living system of growth, mirroring how children naturally develop over time. Growth happens gradually and intentionally. Children begin by forming strong connections, feeling safe, supported, and engaged through play. As confidence builds, curiosity deepens, attention strengthens, and learning becomes more focused. Over time, this foundation supports independence, collaboration, and self-directed exploration. The school is designed to support this progression, responding to how children grow emotionally, socially, and academically at each stage. So the developmental journey, it's expressed through a roots to branches architectural framework across the building. So if you look at, for example, floor 1, roots and water, where we would see pre-K and K. It's a grounded, nurturing spaces that are focused on attachment, safety, and play. These environments feel calm and protected, supporting early learning, movement, and connection. The second level, if you think about the tree trunk, a strong, supportive core where curiosity becomes focus. Structured learning, shared resources, and collaboration build stability, confidence, and skill, grades 1 and 2. The upper level, grades 3, 4, and 5, we think about them as the branches in the sky. Learning expands outward. Flexible spaces encourage independence, collaboration, exploration, supporting students as they reach upward and outward. Together, the building becomes that living system. It's rooted in support and growing towards possibility. Color is used as a tool, intentionally to support growth. Softer tones can ground younger learners. More defined colors support focus, identity, and independence as students progress. Color reinforces wayfinding and helps students intuitively understand their place within the school. This is just a base color palette. We'll be developing this as we move forward with the interiors group. And then finally, architecture and color, they work together to guide the students from play to collaboration, from support to independence. Clear circulation, flexible, shared spaces, and moments for focus and reflection create an environment that actively supports how children grow, rooted in Wilmington's past and designed for its future. So working with the interiors group, we'll use these ideas to guide and the refinement of the building design. And here you can see just examples of how those colors and those architectural elements will start to evolve in the design as we work with them.
Anything else, Brian? Great, thank you. Item number 5 is public engagement update, and based on the fact that I attended virtually, I have asked David Sangden to take us through this next.
Can I just make a comment
Yes.
on the last item?
Yes.
I love the whole idea of the trees. At first, I wasn't crazy about it, but now it's kind of growing on me. Similar to what the building committee did for the senior center, we took a look at the history of that site and the prior structures that were there, and they served as meeting buildings for the town back 100 years ago. So of course, it made perfect sense to build a new building with wood frame exposed beams inside and out, similar to the structures that were there. I hope that we don't lose sight of the fact that the town seal incorporates the Woodfield elm. And that is huge. I know we've talked about the Baldwin apple tree, but the Woodfield elm, which is a mighty tree, and you think about like everything, the qualities of that tree and the characteristics, if there's some way to think about incorporating that into this also, that would be great.
It's actually a really good point.
Yeah,
Thank you.
It's a really good point. Thank you. Anything else on, I'll just step back based on Paul's lead on that. Would anyone else like to make any comments regarding the design update before I move forward? Okay, just want to make sure. So again, for item number 5, which is public engagement, I've just kindly asked that David take this piece through, as I did attend virtually that evening, as I know that was a very important meeting. I know I had said it publicly. I had surgery last week, a week ago today, and I was not able to attend in person, but I do know it was a successful event. So David, if you can take us through that, please.
Sure, thank you, Judy. I'll keep this very high level. So just as a follow-up, the project coordination meeting held last week with the land adjoining abutters. Out of the 15 land adjoining abutters invited, 3 abutters participated in person. 1 participated remotely, and then in addition, 1 neighbor participated in the meeting as well. That was not one of the 15, but participated. So in summary, I feel the meeting was very productive. There was great feedback from the abutters who participated, and another meeting will be coordinated in the near future.
Yes.
So, anything related to that meeting? Should I ask questions? Is there any committee questions?
fine to take them now if you have something specific, if you observed.
Sure, a couple
anything.
things I think it may be constructive, so I was able to attend the first hour and did leave before it ended. Just a couple, one, there's a lot of talk about the screening and the adjacent neighbors, so on the item of I think we talked about a 6-foot wood fence. It's a budget item, but maybe consider like a 7-foot tall wood fence. I don't know where that lands, but that may be beneficial for some of the abutters. The second one, I thought the few property sections that were done were great, and then as well as the 1-year and 8-year perspectives. I guess a general question through you to the architects is, what's the timeline for the other abutters to get updates? And maybe there's been some advancement. I think that was an item I felt that many are looking to see. And then I think the third item is maybe, it's again through the town, but maybe for the contractor. It was discussed the construction entrance is next to the current entrance, and that is the playground. So I guess not for today, but what's the idea for the children who will be at that school for either relocating a playground or creating a playground space while that becomes the active construction driveway?
Thank you for that. Just to keep things flowing, I would like to turn it over to Dora Moody to see if you need to take any of these under advisement or if there are any preliminary comments that you'd like to offer. Obviously, you didn't have these questions in advance, but anything that you can comment that you're comfortable with, if you can do so, and then certainly if you need to take it under advisement for future updates, that's fine as well.
Sure, I think the comment of 7 feet versus 6 feet is something that we can look at, be able to bring back what that means for options for the committee. As far as doing some of those POV views from people's backyards, we did start with 2, and what our strategy was there to make sure that the work that we were showing actually was heading in the right direction before we did a whole bunch of them. So, based on that feedback, we're going to change a little bit of what we presented last time based on that feedback, and we're shooting for the end of January to be able to hold another abutters meeting with updates based on that feedback and be able to show some of those other abutters properties, those views.
So while we're on that too, when I was listening to it, I know they were talking about the maturity of the trees and how long it would take for a tree to mature. And I know just from past experience with doing the Untiled project that the cost driver of bringing in a tree of a certain age can really, really go really expensive. So that's something I think just, some people that are on the committee are going through this for the first time, and even people that are experiencing this in a butter may not necessarily know how expensive things can change. Like what we can do to help with that landscape, that we get the coverage that they need, promptly, while understanding it takes time for things to grow. I think would be helpful to know what we can and can't do in terms of giving them the type of screening that they're looking for, while understanding things take time to grow. But if it takes 10 years to get a buffer, it's as if, to me, it's not there. I'm not trying to be negative in that comment, but if it takes 10 years for a tree to grow, for it to be a screen, it's not a screen, you know what I mean? So I think if we can get some options and recommendations as to what can give the best coverage sooner than later, I think would be helpful. Anyone else on that in terms of the?
It might be helpful too if we get those options and we have those type of point of view character generated images with those options, we can say A, B, and C, that would help us too. I think that's super important, that we provide cover for the neighbors as quickly as possible.
Yes.
Just to that point, I would think, and based on your expertise, I would certainly defer to you, that the mix idea of some arborvitaes or something like that and trees where as the trees grow, they provide the more immediate coverage, and then later on the trees provide the more substantial coverage, but it could be, I'm assuming that's some of the thinking that goes into that. Obviously, I've not done that type of landscaping ever in my life, so I defer to experts on that, but I would think that that's a way to meet your concern, is that it becomes, and it also becomes a little bit more pleasant to have the natural diversity of the different plants too, so.
Right, and I thought the personnel, forgive me, I was listening remotely, but the lovely woman that came with you that evening, she was very well informed and seemed quite sharp in that arena. So the other part too is some of the feedback was that they want screen coverage, but they don't necessarily want leaves accumulating. So it's like, how do you have the coverage but not have the leaf structure? That becomes, a burden, so, yes.
And then I have to assume that more mature a tree is or a bush is, when you transplant it could be more risk. So knowing what those risks are too, because to have something start growing and then something happen to it and have to replant, besides the expense, it becomes longer to actually fill that space. So I'm sure that thought process must go into the design of how to make it a successful growth.
Yes.
I think a point though to evergreens and non-evergreens, and I'm not great with plants, but I would say 70% or more of the school year is when the leaves aren't really on the tree. So I think that was part of the main goal. I think that message was well received, and I think that's what you meant by do a couple sections, you can incorporate that into the next dozen or so.
Thank you. Anything else on the table?
Just to add to that, right, that this is a process that we're going through, and certainly budget is certainly a big consideration. We did talk about this before, right? So we did put a pretty healthy budget together at schematic design. We're gonna certainly check that based on the work that we've been doing. That'll come back to this committee, right, when we have our design development estimate. We'll be able to answer some of those questions about options on, what's the caliber size of the trees. To your point, Stephen, we were approaching this, with a layered look for many different reasons, and fencing. And part of the strategy with the fencing is, during those early years, right, when the landscaping is still growing and not mature, we are still trying to provide that visual screen in there. It's also an acoustical barrier that helps with too. So there's both of those tracks kind of working together with each other. But I'll certainly say we're all going to come back and say, based on this is what it costs. We'll be working obviously with Fontaine to be able to give you some fine-tuning options about what's available to us.
Great. Thank you. Anything further? Yes.
Just to answer your second question, so our logistics plans, we do plan on providing something on the other side of the school for a recess area for the students during construction. What that looks like right now, we don't know. If we can salvage some of that existing playground, we'll try that. If we can't, we'll go a different route, but we do plan on it.
It's great.
That's an excellent question, because it's a very important item to have, so. Anything further? Yes.
One other thing, just on that, we're also, the school department's looking at moving the CARES group to another school, so that isn't needed on that site in the summer. So the school department's making adjustments to give the construction site space at the same time as
Thank you. Okay, moving on to the next item, which is item number 6 for discussion correspondence and new items. As of right now, we do not have anything to add here. And anyone else around the table feel that something is on the table that we should be discussing? I don't have anything from my standpoint. Okay, moving on to item number 7, which is committee questions. I'll open the floor to questions and comments from committee members. All right, Paul Mulroney.
I know in the warrant we approved tonight that we just spent $39,000 in geotech. Is there any update on site and geotech from the site? Are we finding any surprises or anything there?
We have a preliminary portion of it done. So the borings are done, the test bits are actually happening during the break. So it's less invasive for school operations. And so then really we'll have the final report after that. So we'll give an update in January, but so far,
So far, so good. Thank you.
nothing that we didn't know in the previous drawing set. Yeah.
Diane. And then do we have questions for anybody at home? Diane? Okay, so Diane.
Hi, this might be, I know it's a little early to be talking about it, but what are we planning for security for the school? Is there a part of it that we will be coming onto when, maybe a little further down the road?
So when you say security, do you mean during the construction, or are you talking when the building's open and the students and stuff in it?
I'm talking when the building is open and the students are in there.
Okay.
So we had a meeting with public safety, so that included police and fire. to review, so for the site layout, to see if they had any concerns. At one point, we were entertaining to give us some more space around the buffers, potentially, could we reduce some of the access road width right now? And, one of the comments was they would prefer to stay at 25 feet. That's to help allow for a parked vehicle, or a vehicle to bypass a parked vehicle on that road in the event of an emergency. We looked at entry into the site and as well as entry into the building itself and that sequencing of what happens at the administrative wing. So we've reviewed that with the administrative team also to hear some of their feedback on the logistics of that entry sequence. And so these are some of these conversations that are happening in the background. We've also been working with, we haven't met them with this phase, but previously different security consultants that the district works with currently to understand what their concerns are as well. So we're incorporating all of that feedback into this next revision. And then we'll bring that back as we're making the updates to highlight that as well. But it's an ongoing process because, first it's the layout, the passive supervision. We've talked about the security of the glazing on the first level previously and how that we've carried into the estimate. And then, as we get further in, we'll be looking at, where are the cameras located, where are the security lights located, and, we'll be continuing to refine that with more information as we move forward.
Okay, that's kind of where I was going with that. Thank you.
Any other participants remote that have a question on the committee?
None that I see.
Okay. Yes, David.
So in the last meeting, we got an update on some of the activities around the site, and the traffic study, I think, was done completed on November 7th. And I was wondering if we have a timeline of when we expect the final report from the traffic study, and then also more broadly, what kind of timeline are we thinking about as we kind of look at the road improvements that are going to be needed around the school?
So we have shared a draft report with the town because we need to work with engineering on that. So we haven't met with engineering to be able to provide an update here. Our hope is that in the January meeting, we'll have an update on a lot of the site elements where we've got the reports all happening with their own draft form. So, and then the finalized report will technically be in that DD submission when we actually stamp this final. Yeah.
Yeah, no, just to kind of follow up on David's question. We have discussed it with DPW. They are currently engaging an engineering firm using Chapter 90 funds to start looking at the engineering for the two intersections, one at Salem and one at High Street, with the plan being that this fiscal year, the engineering is completed, and so there would be implementation money in the FY28 budget, which starts July 1, 2027. So we would have from July 1, 2027 until the school opening to hopefully get the any kind of on the ground work complete.
The good news with Chapter 90 is that we can start this work now versus having to wait to go through, a little longer.
That's great.
So,
Thank you.
anything else? Yes.
One more, similar to David, items from a past meeting. Last month, we talked about getting a quote from an environmental hygienist to do some sampling. So we want to do that before the end of the school year. Is there kind of an update on if either of the towns have approved it or received quotes?
I'm sorry, Michael.
Environmental hygienist, doing emissions sampling.
Yes. That's been approved, but I don't know the timing of it. I don't know if she.
They're scheduling for a date in January, just because of the break coming.
Anything further? Thank you. Moving on to item number 8, which is public comments. There is a public sign-in sheet available here tonight. I do see that it's been circulated around the room. If you have not already done so, we would just kindly ask that anyone who intends to address the chair of this meeting to please record your name and address on the actual sign-in. This will help the OPM prepare accurate minutes of this portion of the meeting. So at this time, I'll open up the floor to questions and comments from the public. Would anyone like to speak this evening? Anyone? Anybody online?
I only see Diane. Let's see. I don't see any hands raised.
Okay. So at this time, there are no public comments. So item number 9 is the next meeting. Meeting dates, the next building committee meeting is scheduled for Tuesday, January 20th, 2026 at 6:30. And at this time, I'm just going to turn it over to Craig to take us through a couple of comments regarding the February timeframe.
Thanks, Judy. So this committee typically meets the third Thursday, that's sort of like what we've started to establish, third Tuesday of the month. In February, that falls right in February vacation. So we had kind of arbitrarily picked, all right, we'll push it out to the week after February vacation, 24th. There's a conflict with the design team. We would love to have them attend the meeting. And so we'd like to ask the committee if it's okay to move that February meeting to February 10th. So it'll be the week before February vacation. Talking amongst the rest of the team, we think that we can manage, get all your invoices and summarize it, and get all the paperwork done in time for the 10th. But we just want to see if there's any concern with us moving that.
Think we'll be okay?
Think we're good?
All right. Okay, thank you.
Thank you.
Item number 10 is the adjournment. So at this time, I'm seeking a motion from the committee to adjourn.
So
Motion's been made, do I have a second? Okay, and a roll call vote, please.
I'm sorry, who seconded?
I did.
Eric Slagle.
Diane Allen,
Yes.
Kate Bissell,
Yes.
Michael Camosio,
Yes.
Justin Couche,
Yes.
Mary Ann Galezo,
Yes.
Nicholas Golden,
Yes.
Christine Holleran,
Yes.
Dennis Kelly,
Yes.
Lilia Maselli, Paul Melorani,
Yes.
Judith O'Connell,
Yes.
David Ragsdale,
Yes.
Eric Schlegel,
Yes.
David Thompson,
Yes.
Stephen Turner,
Yes.
and myself, yes. Thank you, everyone.
Thank you, everyone. The meeting is adjourned.